aircraft incoming! Enemy team captured the area. Target locked. Enemy aircraft incoming! Enemy torpedoes spotted! Enemy aircraft incoming! Enemy aircraft incoming! Enemy aircraft incoming! The ship is on fire! Target hit!
Haha, bye bye baguette. And there's another one right behind it, but that's going to be complicated. It would have been a really nice intro though, huh? So welcome to the channel, it's DFA. As you've seen, we're taking a look at the Monaghan today. And you've seen that the guns are absolutely awful, the AA is not really there, but the cigars are absolutely marvelous on that thing. And so let's see what that concretely means. We're going to compare it to a couple of other tier 6 destroyers, and then we'll take a look at another gameplay and we'll see how it goes. And so that thing is supposed to be a Farragut with 2 guns removed to take, actually to be replaced by AA guns. Let's see how it goes. Immediately we notice that the survivability is decent, the amount of hit points is actually quite good for tier 6, only really beaten by the French Aigle. Concealment is okay at 6.2 kilometers, and you will need all the help you can get. Stay hidden because you do not have any smoke, you do not have any engine accelerator, you do get a sonar and a torpedo reload. That's going to lead to some interesting choices a bit later on. In terms of maneuverability, it's pretty average, 36 knots top speed, acceleration is also pretty average, turn time as well, something that you can actually improve with your equipment setup. So the guns, you indeed lost a couple of 127mm if you compare it to the Farragut, and you end up with only 2 of them and an absolutely abysmal DPM, less than 10,000 at tier 6. You are not going to be of any use with your guns. In fact, even the Japanese torpedo boat will be able to take you down, no problem. But let's take a look at the torpedoes, because that is where it gets really interesting. 8 533mm tops, a bit like the Farragut. The reload time is a little bit higher, but the damage is also a little bit higher, and that leads to a DPM that's pretty average at 30,000. But the most important is if you activate your torpedo reload, you can get a burst damage of 42,800 at tier 6. For example, the second best, the Fubuki, gets 35,200. That allows you to one-shot most of the battleships you will meet at tier 6, and certainly at tier 5, tier 7 it will depend on the battleship. And keep in mind that you only get 1 reload charge, but you can increase it if you equip Legendary Commander Halsey, which will give you 1 extra torpedo reload. I absolutely recommend, if you have that commander, to equip it with that ship, because it makes it a completely different vessel. It's actually improving quite a lot. And finally, the AA, which is, yeah, it's all green, but it still sucks. You're not going to shoot down any plane, I'm afraid. So where do those 3 127mm guns go? I have absolutely no idea. So let's take a look at some action. The matchmaking is not very good to us. 3 cruisers and 2 destroyers on the enemy team, only 2 battleships, which are actually not that slow. Congo and Fuso, they're pretty average in terms of speed. What are we going to do with that setup? And so we know that this is a true torpedo boat, it doesn't have any guns, the AA sucks, it's not really meant for support, you don't have the classical support set of skills, except maybe for the sonar. But you don't have any smoke, so you cannot hide from cruisers anyway, so what you can do is actually scout for your team, as you would do in any DD, but most importantly, you can also make sure that the cruisers behind you are going to go with you. Because you will need all the help you can get if you come across an enemy DD and one of their cruisers. There are actually 5 ships which are going to be dangerous for us on the enemy team, and hopefully we'll be able to evade them and put a couple of sneaky shots into the battleships that will be probably very attracted by the 2 Aobas following me. And with the torpedo power of those Aobas, we could probably do a couple of interesting combinations. I see that half of my team is actually following me, that's good, I will need all the help I can get because I should not be very far from encountering the first enemy destroyer. And sure enough, it's the Farragut who's going to troll me. So I'm going to engage with my guns, but I'm not expecting a lot, and I'm immediately going to turn around because that Galissonier can make short work of me. I do activate my sonar, I want to see if that guy is actually trying to, might be torping one of my cruisers, but it's completely missing. And there you go, I'm going to disengage. I might try putting a couple of shots, no I won't actually. Because he decides to troll me by reminding me that he has smoke and I do not, so the only thing I can do is actually trying to reset my concealment and basically disappear from the enemy site. And so we're going to remain at the back. We are supported by our team, that's actually good news, they are coming with me, very nice. Don't go too far to the right because I will need you soon. And immediately I spot something that could be interesting. The DD is going to the left, the cruiser to the right. And there is one of these battleships actually coming our way. It must be the Congo. Let's see if we can get a little bit closer using our excellent, actually decent concealment, and we can, let's see if we can squeeze a couple of torpedoes into that guy. And so yes, we are playing a true torpedo boat. We see that the Congo is accompanied by a cruiser, but the cruiser is bravely standing behind him, and I suspect that that's going to cost the enemy team quite a lot in a couple of seconds. The Congo now seems to be moving in a straight line, and there you go, we can actually launch our 12 torpedoes, and now we can disengage immediately because we do not want to get spotted with that thing. As soon as you're spotted in front of a cruiser, it's going to become complicated to you. So let's see what happens with that Congo. He's still shooting, so he's probably not paying too much attention to what is coming towards him. Let's see if... oh, that's going to be very nice. And that is what that ship is absolutely excellent at doing. Deleting battleships in one salvo. Unfortunately, what that ship is not very good at, it's going to bite us right now. Just look at our base. My team, who started very well by pushing to the right, is now, I have no idea what they're doing because they're staying way too close to these islands and they're not in a position to defend the base, and I actually cannot do that as well because there are 2 destroyers and a cruiser there and I am absolutely useless against those targets. I have no idea what I could be doing there. And so I'm left with only one choice: convince my teammates that yes, we might actually cap the enemy base at the same time as they are capping ours. We still have time to do it, it's going to be complicated. Let's see if we can squeeze a couple of torpedoes into that fuso at the same time, but as you've seen, the Exeter has probably a very good idea of what's going to happen and is coming back towards his base, and this time it's going to make my life absolutely miserable. Yeah, because I do not have any means of defending myself against him. Do not have any smoke, I do not have any fuel smoke or whatever. I cannot escape its shells, and yes, we might actually take down that fuso or come very close to that, but that's everything I can do there because I stand absolutely no chance against that cruiser, and I cannot really come back to defend my base because I cannot do anything against the destroyer and the cruiser that are there. So I'm left with my team, who decided to go dig for oil on the right part of the map. And judging by the fact that they're coming back, they haven't found any, so yeah, the only thing I can do is actually trying to push the base, but the game is over by now. We have lost this one, and that's one of the disadvantages of the Monaghan. It's a one-trick pony, it's a very fundamentally true torpedo boat, so that's all you can do. You can do it absolutely, you can do it very well, but yeah, I mean, look at me trying to finish that fuso with my guns, it takes forever. Oh la la. And so we're going home with the chocolate medal, the best loser medal, so we did lose that game, although we did do our best against our intended targets, deleting one in one salvo and leaving the other one for dead, but that wasn't enough. That ship is really meant for one thing and one thing only. And that, I'm afraid, is also my conclusion for that ship. I already have the Yudachi, I have played a couple of times with the Asaccio, and those, unlike the Monaghan, retain some basic, not excellent, but basic abilities with guns. And they also have some abilities to get out of tricky situations, be it with smoke or engine accelerator, or both actually. And so yes, the Monaghan can be incredibly fun in certain circumstances, but also very frustrating in others, and I'm afraid that will be my conclusion for that ship. If you enjoy that playstyle and you absolutely want to try it against the slow-moving Tier 5 and Tier 6 battleship, you will be a very happy camper. Remember that you absolutely need to put Halsey on that thing, because you need that extra torpedo reload. But yes, that's a lot of conditions actually if you think about it, and so yes, I will probably keep my Yudachi and keep enjoying it instead of the Monaghan. So there you go, that was my review of that ship. I hope you've enjoyed it, you learned a couple of interesting things. Stay safe, stay care, that was DeathFromAbove, signing out, bye bye!